Hello guys, this is the Hindu editorial video of February 7th. So I'm recording it late because I was not well last week and we had missed a lot of episodes. So I'm trying to catch up. Okay, so if you're a very serious aspirant, I assure you that everything will be completed and please see to that you are subscribing. Okay, just hit the subscribe button now itself and hit the bell icon also. So you will get notified each time when we put a video. Okay, and in this video there will be no junk videos. Everything is for your UPSC preparation only. So please do that now itself before proceeding, and also connect with us on Instagram because there I'm posting MCQs also now slowly. So you will be learning every single day through your social media. Okay, so please see to that you're connected in all sources with us. And then before starting, we'll see the test series plan also. 120 days plan I made, but now again only 100 days are left. So 100 tests are there, 10,000 MCQs. If you sit and study them, okay, at least the main subjects and some current affairs, you are going to clear this exam. Okay, but you have to study it dedicatedly every day. So please see to it that you are enrolling to it faster. More days you waste, like 80 days, 90 days, 60 days, then you will not be able to complete everything. So please WhatsApp me. I'll give you the details of how to enroll. And first we'll see the agenda for today, like what are the articles. At least 5 to 6 articles are important today, or at least we have to mention about them. So 5G spectrum auctions, we'll quickly see. Then here terrorism, one of the leader has died there, so we'll see what is there happening there. Then here health data, okay, the different health data, whether we should maintain it or whether it's a infringement of the right to privacy, that kind of details we'll see. Then here if you see guest lecturer salary issues going on in Karnataka, so that is a regional issue and it's not very important, we will not discuss. This is the election states. 5 states elections are going to happen, so they have put a chart like where is the crime rate high, where is the case getting solved faster. So comparison between all the 5 states, how justice is delivered. So that is not again important for us. This is about a Hindutva incident which happened in a particular place in Chhattisgarh, so that also we'll quickly see at the last. And this is India and Central Asia, which is very important for GS2. You have to learn this. And this, hijab, already the hijab issue, I've made a big video, 30 minutes video with entire timeline, entire fundamental rights controversy, everything I've discussed there. But still here whatever is there, I'll just show you. There are some older incidents of some temples and all they're comparing. So we'll quickly see important points alone. Okay, so if you see 1 2 3 4 5 6 articles we are going to discuss, so please watch till the end. Okay, and if you want this free coaching to be continued, every subject in Hindi and English to be continued, you have to subscribe and WhatsApp me. Okay, in Vysh courses channel also we are expecting you to subscribe because there the non-editorial news items will be covered every day. Okay, some of the videos have been kept on halt because your response have been poor. So if you respond, we will see to it that you get free education. And watch the foundational videos before watching any other lectures. Okay, in both English and Hindi we teach you how to even start the exam. Okay, so please prepare right way, else there is no point watching all the lectures. Okay, so again tell me in comment section which lectures you want to get continued faster, and in editorials you have any doubt, just read these bullet points, this will be sufficient for you. Okay, now 5G spectrum auctions. Okay, in the budget recently the finance minister announced that we are going to have the proper required spectrum auctions for the 5G rollout. Okay, because 5G 6G, these things are moving faster across the globe and this is the future. So now that has been announced and this will be enabling the economic growth, the job creation and everywhere. Okay, so the telecom regulatory authority of India, the TRAI, they were expected to submit the recommendations on the spectrum by the month of March. Okay, after which the auctions will be soon held. Okay, after we get the recommendations from them. So in the next few months it can happen, but still there is very less clarity on the approach of the government plans, like what particular frequencies they'll use, how fast they will enroll it, or which all telecom companies will participate in that, whether they are economically viable for that, because telecom companies are at a very kind of lost kind of stages. It's very financially stressed. Even like Vodafone, Idea, both were failing and then they merged and tried, then also they failed, and now the majority shares has gone to the government. Union government is the largest shareholder in Vodafone Idea. It's like a BSNL now, it's like a government company now. Okay, so a highly capital intensive technology, this 5G, is it viable that we can conduct it, whether there we have enough participants or it's like going to be a monopoly of any particular thing, that is not, we have to wait and see. Okay, so 5G represent an exponential leap in technology, and first and all they are going to have it like an upgraded replacement for the 4G in terms of usage. Okay, and then later only the high scale industrial and public utility applications, everything will come in futuristic way in a few years time. Okay, first it will be just a small upgrade of the 4G. Okay, and they are showing some frequency ranges also, which you don't have to by heart now, but you should have an idea, like below 1 gigahertz also is there, then C band frequencies around 3.5 gigahertz, then higher 26 gigahertz. In every frequency there are different types of bandwidth going to be provided. and you have to see whether it will be like low cost available for the people also, because you have to communicate and send signals between the base station and the telecom operators network. So in the low cost e-band airwaves they are mentioning. Okay, this are all technical parts in my science test I have covered in detail, so you don't have to worry. Also we have a science video playlist also in both English and Hindi. There you will understand better, okay, all these frequency things and all of different networks. Okay, now existing mobile network, it is have been failing, okay, because in this corona time also, many people have to have online classes and all these things, but they are not able to provide the proper education which the students need. The proper connectivity is not there. So now we have to see that, okay, before introducing this 5G and all these things, policymakers have to see whether we invest this much money into 5G and whether will it actually work, or whether it is going to be like a 4G which could not reach everywhere. Okay, so that and all has to be considered while deciding these things. That is the first article. Now the second article is about the terrorism in Syria, Iraq and all those areas. So this person, okay, this Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi, this person has died. Okay, so he was the leader of the Islamic State IS, which it's a group active, or which started in Iraq and Syria. So there before this there was a ambitious attack which they had, okay, before the death there also. So here they are telling the comparison between his death and the founder's death. Okay, the founder of IS, this Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, in 2019 he also died, and there was a prison attack which they tried in this Syria's Hasaka region, okay, northeast Syria. So they were trying to free all the jihadists from the jail and all, but it was a failed attempt. Okay, so they're just comparing his death and this death and all, because both actually like a suicide blast, they have died. Okay, so that I'll tell you more details. So if you see this thing, this prison break was failure. If you see, American soldiers joined with the Syrian Democratic Forces, then the Kurdish militia, to push back the militants. Okay, so all these people came together, and that time this prison break was a failure. Okay, so this Qureshi, this person who died now, Qureshi blew himself up along with the family, like his predecessor did 3 years ago when US Special Forces approached his hideout in Idlib. Okay, Idlib is also a place in Syria. UPSC already asked a match the following on this, so you should know. Okay, so this now if you see, this is like similarity. Both the things, they failed and they died. Now when he became the IS chief, he transformed itself from the caliphate. Okay, earlier they had a caliphate kind of thing where a public presence, a global kind of what to say, very publicly they were telling everything. Okay, but now after this new person became the IS chief who died now, he made it transformed from this caliphate system to the underground insurgency kind of thing with lot of global branches. Okay, they continue to operate like a loose confederation of autonomous networks, meaning individual networks, groups are there which is connected by underground network. Okay, so Afghan and West African branches also, they expanded operations, and in Syria and Iraq, where its origin is there, they had occasional attack also, meaning they were going on telling that the physical caliphate is destroyed, but it's a reminder that they are still active. Okay, so this is the terrorism Syria Iraq issue. Okay, just the few place names you have to know. Leader names are not important. Okay, this Idlib and that Haska which I told, those are important things where match the following can come. Now if you see the next one, health data. So health data, you should know there is a mission called Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, and the administrating body or unit is National Health Authority. Okay, this is the first learning for you. So now they are having consultation processes to see whether health data, okay, that can be retained. Okay, retention of health data by health check providers, is it like valid, like what data you can retain and for how long you can retain. Okay, so it should not be like over collection of unnecessary data and all, and it also should not be one size fit all system where you do like common kind of things and then it's like under retention of data. It should not be over, it should not be under retention. Okay, and based on its use you have to classify data, and health data not required for identified purpose would be anonymized. Okay, meaning you will not know whose data it is, and it will be like a kind of privately saved, or it should be deleted. Okay, so these are some things going on. They are consulting with each other and they are coming to conclusions. So whether the state should mandate a retention period, like state should tell like, okay, for 1 year you can store, for 1 month you can store. So that is an open question now, state whether they should decide or not. Okay, and compete on how they handle the data of individuals or health records. If you see, many patients don't even think about all these things when you go and give your details to a doctor or a thing, because there are a lot of unregulated things also, and it's all like decision to take choice out of the individual hands should not be taken lightly. Okay, because you have a lot of informal places also, health providers also, people will give their data and they don't even care. But just because people don't care, that decision to take choice out of the individual hands should not be taken lightly. Okay, so you cannot take it lightly. You have to make some guidelines and rules for this, because Supreme Court has told us privacy is a fundamental right and it has to pass a four part test, meaning legality. Okay, when you're collecting data or storing data, whether it is legal, legitimate aim. Okay, some legal, some needed aim is there behind that, proportionality and appropriate safeguards. Okay, all these should be passed whenever you use some data, a personal data. Okay, so the mandatory retention of health data is one such form of interference with the right of privacy. So now, in this context, the question of legality, whether the health data retention policy should be made applicable only to healthcare providers who are participating in the ABDM, that Ayushman scheme which I told, or to all the healthcare providers. Okay, so that is now is what is being discussed. Here we are telling, author is telling, we believe the answer can be the former, meaning only those people or this thing participating in this scheme, okay, because that's administered by National Health Authority. So they can do for that thing, but they cannot do for all the healthcare providers in general, because NHA, National Health Authority, is not a sector-wide regulator. Okay. Now, the aim of data retention is described in terms of benefits to individual also and to public at large also. Okay. So, individuals, how it will benefit the data thing. It will be greater convenience and choice created through portability of health record. Meaning you have like in a click, in a portal, you go and see all your data is already there. Okay. So, you can, when you go to some other hospital, some other doctor also, you can simply download it there. No need to carry everything. So, convenience, that is for individual. Now, for public benefit is like they're telling for research and innovation. If you have all the data in the system, then you can research more on different types of diseases and all these things. Okay, but all these things have to be weighted against the risk. Okay, like what all risk is there, because health data is very sensitive kind of thing. So if you disclose, it will be like a range of significant harms can happen. So that you have to take care. So they're telling like there are it's not enough to have penalties for such breaches, meaning okay, something is breached, okay, put a penalty or fine. You have to minimize the extent of data collected, hold it only for the amount of time needed so as to reduce the likelihood of any breach. Okay, meaning don't wait for the breach to happen and then put penalty. You have to reduce the breach itself by collecting minimum data and deciding how long you will hold that data. Okay, so privacy risk is there and might be useful. Okay, the justification they gave is like the data might be useful for research someday, but that is something you have to clearly define. Okay, you cannot simply tell a vague thing like here, okay, data on patients of everyone with heart condition will help us understand cardiac health better. That's a very vague explanation. Okay, if you have a specific some case, specific some which is a very rare disease kind of thing, some neglected disease kind of thing, then that is still justiciable. But a normal thing with heart condition like India's most of the population will have some problems. Okay, so that entire data you cannot have it. Okay, now if you have it also, you should keep it anonymous record. But for that also, standards are still developing. The entire world of big data, where everybody is collecting data, nobody has arrived at any proper consensus like how should we make it anonymous, what are the best practices for achieving it. And then even if it is anonymous, sometimes it is still tracked back to the individual. You can still find out whose data it is. So all these things are like problems which you have to first solve before coming up with this kind of policies. Okay, so clear and specific case has been identified for such retention following a rigorous process. Okay, until you have done this, you cannot do this. That's what they're telling. Anonymous data that is being retained for research purposes. If neither this is true, the data should be deleted. Okay, meaning if you cannot make it anonymous, you cannot prove that it is useful for research purposes, then you have to delete it. You cannot keep it. Okay, an alternate basis for retaining data can be the express and informed consent of the individual. Okay, so one way is you ask the person itself, like, can we keep your data? Okay, meaning you are having his informed consent. Okay, but healthcare is a field where patients rely on the expertise and advice of doctors, making the idea of this thing complicated. Okay, because when doctor asks like that, maybe they will agree because people believe they're doctor and you have to again go there. Okay, and also like suppose you make it mandatory. Okay, if the consent is made necessary for accessing state provided services, meaning government which they give free care and all these things, they will make a mandatory rule like you have to give your data with us, only then you will get the treatment. Then because they don't have any other option, they may simply agree. Okay, because the lack of any other way to access that care. Okay, now the current bill, okay, which we have already requires purpose limitation. Okay, meaning for collecting, for processing, for sharing, for everything the clauses are there. Okay, the bill which they are discussing. So with more consultation, maybe they'll come to a proper conclusion. This is about the health data and privacy. Now the hijab, already I told you that detailed video is there, but here some points are there, like a story they have written some things. Okay, so administration objects to them covering their heads with hijab. Okay, already High Court has told like till we come up with a ruling, you have to not have any religious symbols. It applies to hijab also, saffron scarf also, whatever it is. Okay, so Ambedkar had once told, okay, now the girls have asked for protection under the Indian Constitution. So Ambedkar once told the world owes much to the rebels who would dare to argue in the face of the This pontiff means the pope or the big person there, okay, and insist that he is not infallible, okay, meaning you can question the things, and the rebels are always the ones whom the world will be looking forward to. They will be questioning the system. They will be making them understand that they are not infallible. They can be questioned. Okay, so that's a good phrase you can use for any thing. Okay, because it's Ambedkar's statement. Now in 16th century, they are telling like there in Udupi itself, the place where this issue happened, there's a Krishna temple, and a person, a lower caste person, Kanakadas, was not allowed to enter into the temple. Okay, so he did not go away. Instead, he started singing the kirtans and all from the outside. And what happened miraculously is that the idol of the deity, the god, it turned, okay, eastwards, 180-degree eastwards to face west, and then it opened up a wall or something there, a small window. So it was now clearly visible to this Kanakadas who was outside singing this kirtans. Okay, so this is considered as a very like miraculous thing there. The devotees are getting the sight, and now even now that this temple, if you go, people first look through this window for the deity. Okay, so that is some historical thing which happened in the Udupi town. They are just explaining the significance of this town where religious things have happened in the past. Okay, so now this Hindu religious mini act and judgments are here mentioned. So you should not by heart everything. But in 1954 there was this Shirur Mutt some case in which the court ruled what constitutes the essential part of a religion is primarily to be ascertained with reference to the doctrines of that religion itself. Okay, meaning when you tell something, whether you need access to it or you want to wear hijab, you have to prove that it is essential part of the religion. Okay, and you have to show the scriptures or whatever is there related to that, so that you can prove that this is an essential practice and constitution allows us essential practice. Okay, so now court would be sympathetic to their respective religious faith, and whatever the government or whatever they decide, the judiciary, okay, they have the power to determine and pronounce upon the religious practice and belief. Okay, you saw in Sabrimala case also they gave a verdict. Now in this case also they will give a verdict. So judiciary has the power to give rulings regarding religious things in our country. Okay, but now problem is how will you understand like whether it's an essential religious practice or not? How will the court understand? Okay, whether they should rely on religious leaders what they tell, or whether they should call for some evidence proof for that, or whether the judiciary should do their own research. Okay, these kind of things are there. And Justice Chandra was there in the Sabrimala case also. So he told these are like very complicated things, and it's compelling them to go towards theological angle and mythological things. They have to go through all these things, okay, religious things which they usually don't do. Okay, so now these are things happening. In the case of hijab also, there is no doubt that an observant Muslim woman might insist that the following verses of the Quran. So in Quran, actually, there are two phrases they have given where this head covering is mentioned. Okay, so here's, O Prophet, enjoin your wives, your daughters, the wives of true believers, that they should cast their outer garment over their persons when abroad. That is most convenient, that they may be distinguished and not be harassed. Okay, so this outer garment thing, one statement is there, and one more verse, little more clearer way it is told, believing women that they should lower their gaze, that they should not display their beauty and ornaments except what must ordinarily appear, therefore that they should draw their khimar and not display their beauty except to their husband, the fathers, then father, son, or something like that. Okay, this men in the family, that is what is the gist of this. So except them, nobody else should see their face or beauty or something like that is written in the Quran. Okay, so these are the two things mentioned in Quran, but again, it doesn't come under the 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, that I explained in the hijab video, you can go and watch. Okay, Quran verses are there, but this is not mandatorily there and there other laws. Okay, so that is why the complications are there now, and how they'll prove it in court that it is an essential practice. Okay, now the author is telling like when he was in college in Udupi in the 80s and all, there was no uniforms itself. Okay, people used to wear whatever they like, but in the 90s when this fashion and everything came, teenagers came in whatever costume they like. That is why the uniform system started. Okay, and now in the overall state there is no proper uniform code. Everyone has individual uniform rules also. Okay, and there is no manner in which they can wear. Okay, like a scarf, you can wear it around your head or over your head. That is, there's no particular rule mentioned. Okay, so now it's like prioritizing uniformity over diversity. So this author is actually wanting the supporting like hijab should be allowed. Okay, so that's why he's telling diversity is not being respected. You are only focusing on uniform thing. Okay, Now, the court may well ask whether a head covering mandated by some religions. Okay, like in the Sikh community also, the males they wear that turban kind of thing. Okay, and then regarding Sikhs, actually in the constitution it is written also that there many things are out of in their practice, and so that should be allowed. Okay, like even helmets and all they don't need to wear. Even in army when they are there, they don't need to wear. They are all wearing that turban. Okay, so those are exceptions in the constitution itself. But for Muslims, it was not there till now. So now how the court will come up with a ruling is a thing we have to wait for. Okay. Now, can government colleges deny education to students who have seen to be violating a uniform code? So many questions he's asking, all coming to the same point only, like hijab should be allowed. Okay, that's what he's trying to prove through these questions. Okay. Now in this Nariman, this thing dictum in the Sabrimala review also, this is the same thing told. Okay, our holy book is the Constitution of India, and we should not fall for something else. Okay, India is running on a constitution in a secular format, so we should listen to what is written in the constitution rather than other books. Now, again, some other case in 1957. The first one I showed is 1954. Now this is 1957. Some state of Mysore case. Like they are telling, okay, like person from entering into a temple for worship is a matter of religion according to Hindu ceremonial law. So religious wise judgments has also come, and other type of judgments also has come. Okay, so again, these are not too much understandable way this is written. I have explained properly in that video, so I'm not going into details. Okay, here one more example of another person they are telling, one American person, John Higgins. He was a scholar of music and he came to some temple. Okay, this would same Udupi Sri Krishna temple. He came, but because of his white skin, his entry was denied. Okay, so immediately what he did, he also started singing near the gate. But now this time, people immediately allowed him to enter because they did not want another some miracle to happen, like the deity is turning or anything miracle which they happened in 16th century. They did not want to happen. Okay, so that is why this is a very interesting example I found. So you can just remember it. Okay, in case you need it to quote somewhere. So next we will discuss an article which is important, India and Central Asia. So India and Central Asia has been trying to come into a lot of meetings in the last few months. If you see inaugural India Central Asia Summit, India Central Asia Dialogue, then Regional Security Dialogue of Afghanistan in New Delhi. This all happened in the last 4 months. Okay, so that shows the enthusiasm which India is showing to engage with the Central Asian region. Okay, and India has limited economic powers and stakes there. Okay, we have limited trade, and especially is because of the lack of physical access. We don't have a route to go there. Okay, that I discussed in another article also before. Like because Pakistan problem is there, Afghanistan problem is there. You don't have a proper route. Okay, and POK and other some area of Kashmir is with China also. You cannot directly enter Tajikistan also, and you cannot go upwards. Okay, so that is why with Russia, with Central Asia and all, we have to have lot of deals. Okay, so now if you see, the gains from an engagement of Central Asia may be minimal. Okay, meaning when you have deal with them, the gain will be very minimal. But if you don't have an engagement, the disadvantages are many. Okay, disadvantage of non-engagement could be costly in the longer run. That also I'll explain how. Now America has withdrawn from Afghanistan. So what will happen? There is a vacuum. So that vacuum will be tried to fill by China and Russia. So this time if India doesn't act, everything will go under China's dominance, because China already economically is a very strong person there. They have invested a lot of money in the Central Asian countries. So geo-economic wise, China is leading, and political wise, Russia will be leading because of their military power and all these things. They can take up lands there, they can invade there, many things can happen. Already it is happening also. So geo-economic in the later stage might gain traction. So India also should try investing a lot. So Moscow considers India to be a useful partner in the region, and they want to win back New Delhi also, because India is moving towards the US. That they want to prevent. So Russia will always agree to India's any plan which they tell. They want India to come closer to them, and also they want to checkmate the rising Chinese influence also. How much ever you see Russia, China looks like friends and all, they will all be fighting with each other. Okay. Now for the US, while growing India-Russia relation is not a welcome development. Okay. US will not like it when India relation with Russia is increasing. But good thing is if they do that, they combine together, then China can have some problems there. So that USA will like it. So maybe USA will stay silent to just see, wait and watch like what is happening, whether China is being pushed back. Okay. And for China, if you see, none of this is a concern now. Okay, because they have enough investment, enough power, everything. So now there is no problem, but they could be eventually a problem if India also does lot of investments and things there. Now, New Delhi faces a major dilemma in the wider region, not just in the pre-existing theaters like line of control and line of actual control. I mean, we already have the problems, right? The LOC, the LAC between Pakistan and China, we have that problems. And now if China, Pakistan, and Taliban, which is a new one, they combine together and try to do something, then India will have problem and it severely damage India's interest. That is why India has to be careful and start investing in Central Asia faster. When there was this earlier government site in Afghanistan before the Taliban, that time India was able to engage Kabul. without too much hardship, despite Pakistani resistance, because India was investing a lot in Afghanistan, and so we could have a proper route towards there. Okay, now Taliban has returned to Kabul. New Delhi is forced to devise new ways of engaging Afghanistan, and the Central Asia and Russia is the best way. That's a good thing which will be helpful for us. So, uh, the location bordering Afghanistan, as as well as its close proximity to Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Tajikistan holds immense geopolitical significance. As I told, if you go and see the map also, Tajikistan is just above India's Kashmir. Okay, so that, because it has border with Afghanistan also, and it is close to POK also, it is very much important. This country is very much important for us. Okay, now a joint working group on Afghanistan was also announced during the India CAR meeting, which I told in the starting. They had been discussing Afghanistan also. So that and all indicates that India is actually going in the right direction. India's current vision for a regional security architecture, Russia appears prominent. Okay, so with Russia, you have to definitely grow, and that also is happening. India's, like Modi is meeting with Putin also, and our national security advisors are also meeting. So that's all going well as of now, in papers at least. Okay, now New Delhi expects the US to understand that in the wake of the latter's withdrawal from the region, leaving India in the lurch, New Delhi has no choice. So when now New Delhi is going towards Russia, India is expecting that US also will understand this, because USA only withdrew everything and went outside. So now when USA is gone, India obviously has to go to the next power, and that is Russia. So we are hoping USA will understand this. Now there is an interesting thing happened. India and Russia recently exchanged a non-paper. So this non-paper is actually to increase the engagement in Central Asia, and also they are thinking of developing the defense equipment. If you know, India and Central Asia both uses the Russia's defense equipments. Okay, so now with this they are trying, what if we together can do the production jointly, we can do the productions, that too where in Central Asia. In Central Asia there are Soviet era old defense facilities. So now can India and Russia together go there and build equipments. Okay, and also they are looking for a potential trilateral defense exercise also, because that is a new thing. India has separately with Central Asia, India has separately with Russia. So if these three come together, that will be a big blow to China and USA, and others will feel like, okay, these three are coming together now. And India's non-critical stance also. If you see, Russia is trying to invade Ukraine and all, India is not criticizing, India is not telling anything, because India needs the support of Russia. Okay, so these are all going towards the same final conclusion, that India is going to take Central Asia seriously. And it's not going to be easy, because China, as I told, they share land borders with all these places. They are major investor there. Many places are there. Now another problem for India is the problem with Iran. Okay, Iran, you know, we had this Chabar port, and we thought we'll go there, and then by railroad we'll go to Afghanistan, and then above to Central Asia. This was the plan. But now Iran is having that sanctions of this USA, because of the nuclear program, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So that is a problem there. Okay, now if that gets solved only, the routes will get cleared, and India can go through that. So if there is a deal, it would bring back Tehran, that is Iran's capital, back into the Western fold and away from China and Russia. Because if deal is done, means Iran is closer to USA, so their routes will open. India can go there. Okay, so even though Russia won't prefer it, India prefers it, that Iran's problems get solved. So India's ongoing outreach to Iran, and now latest meeting is also being planned. Iran's foreign ministers coming to Delhi. All these are going again in the same direction. So you have to, like this, bring in factors in your mains answer. Okay, if you see different topics we are bringing into the same point, like India is going to invest in Central Asia, or India is going to grow in Central Asia. Okay, we saw USA, we saw Russia, we saw China, now we are saying Iran. Okay, this is how you have to do. Now only thing we have to see is, will India walk the talk? Meaning whatever we have told in papers, will we stick to those commitments, and will we actually walk the talk? We will be walking on that path. Okay, now the last article, not very important, it's about Hindutva in Chhattisgarh, in this Surguja district. Okay, here some people have told, like, we will be economically boycotting Muslims. Okay, meaning we will not go to their shops, we will not support them, we will not allow anything on their side. Okay, meaning we are totally boycotting them. We will not even, like, untouchability kind of thing. Okay, and this is by a Hindutva group, you know, Vishwa Hindu Parishad. These people are also distributing pamphlets and all these things, calling them anti-national, anti-Hindu, love jihad, many things, and they are doing a very, like, regressive kind of old policy. Okay, so this is happening. It's like a modern version of untouchability. So the author is telling we should have new laws. Okay, because this policy of Hindutva, like purity and then garvapsi, all these things are nonsense kind of things, and you should not do this. India is a secular country, and everybody has their own space. Okay, so Ambedkar also told this kind of boycotting, the method of boycott, was more effective than open violence. Okay, because you are economically sidelining them, they are not able to do anything, they cannot survive. Okay, because if you everybody stop going to their places, or anything, they will be isolated, they will suffer. Okay, so boycott is effective for two reasons. One, it's about Dalits. They are comparing and telling this. Okay, Dalits constituted a minority that time, and they are economically weaker also. So they had to depend on the majority. So if you all boycott, they will suffer more than a open violence. Okay, and in the freedom time also we struggled a lot to end all this untouchability. Then in our constitution also we put Article 14, 15, and 17 specific article for untouchability. Now everything is abolished, but there is no proper definition for it. What is untouchability? Okay, so that definition is always like contested. Always it is fought. And in India, the two laws which we have explicitly for these kind of boycotts are the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocity Act 1989 and this Maharashtra Act of Social Boycott, okay, of 2016. But again, the scope is all in criminalizing something after it happens. Okay, there is nothing to prevent this kind of things. There is no proper definition of untouchability. This is a problem which the author is telling. Okay, so Hindutva is using pre-constitutional methods to disempower a community, meaning whatever we try to eradicate after the constitution, they are using the pre-constitutional methods, and which is very pathetic. Okay, it should not happen. These kind of things should not happen. Okay, so urgent politico-legal response to such public call for a Muslim boycott is required. So we should have some proper political and legal response. Government should act now. Okay, so this can be done by a progressive redefinition of untouchability or by expanding the scope of anti-boycott laws to include discrimination against religious communities. So this should be legally done. This is what the author is suggesting. So again, if you are a serious aspirant, please WhatsApp me so that you get all the details and you are able to clear this prelims this time itself. Else again, one more year will get wasted. So if you want the free coaching to continue, please subscribe both these channels, Vysh IAS and Vysh courses. I'll come up with the next video. Thank you and have a nice day.